Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today I have another breakup story to share. And if you have a breakup story you want to share, hit the link down below to writemac.com. It's in the show notes or the information down below. Send your story and I could give you my take in a YouTube video just like this. Or if you'd like to book a live coaching session, talk to me on FaceTime, Google Hangouts, or Skype, and fully unpack your relationship, your situation, get some clarity moving forward. If you like this video, throw it a like. If you don't like it, that's fine. If you want to subscribe, hit the red button and hit the bell, and you can get updated on every live stream I drop, which are 3 to 6 a week, and you can ask me some live questions. Let's get into it. Hi, I just saw your YouTube video titled, "He Doesn't Want to Get Married or Have Kids," and decided to see if you would be able to give me advice. Well, I'll do my best. I'll tell you what I will do. I'll give you my unbiased, honest take. I appreciated your time. I appreciate your time. Well, I appreciate yours too writing this. Here is my story. I am married. And let me just say something, folks. That's a very good way to start something. When you are sending in your story, or this is people 101. Sometimes people go, "Help me. I need your help." This, it's all them. It's really nice when someone starts something out. This person obviously deals with people, obviously has a nice touch to them. And just to say, I appreciate your time before you even get started, nice work. You've obviously maybe read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Here is my story. I am married, but my husband and I's marriage is going through a tough spot right now. He does not want to have kids, and I do. Dun, 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 dun. Well, that's a big thing to disagree on when you're married. We have been married for 7 years and been together for 8 years. I am 32 years old. My husband is 35 years old. We hadn't seriously discussed the topic of having kids before marriage, but when we got married, well, you should have done that up front. I mean, hindsight is 20/20, but marriage, at the end of the day, what is marriage? But I will say this, people do change their mind about having kids and not having kids. And I would ask what his reasons are. If his reasons are valid and strong for himself, you might have to agree to disagree and get a divorce, because this is a serious thing at your age, in your 30s, and being together 7 years right now. And if he's dug in on this, it's going to create more and more contempt, anger, and this is going to bleed over to other parts of the relationship. The topic of having kids before marriage, but we got married. The assumption was that we would have kids once I finished my master's programs. Well, assumptions aren't good, because you basically had it in your head, if we got married, then he'll maybe come around. But it's definitely something that you should have had a discussion about. Saying that, people can change their mind in 7 years. They can change it in 2 or 3 years, especially about kids. So don't get too upset about it. I say assumption because we hadn't actually spoken about it, but I had naively thought that having kids was just part of marriage and it will happen. Well, good for you to take some accountability and responsibility at 32 years old to say that you are naive to assume this. That being said, most people would, but if you are an educated individual getting a master's degree, this is something that you definitely should have talked about. And the husband should have talked about it with you. He must have had an idea that you wanted kids. I now know that I should have talked about having kids before marriage. Well, all paths lead to now. I completed my master's program. Good for you. And my licensure, I don't know what that means, in 2017, and shortly after initiated the conversation about having a baby. His reaction was discomfort, and he stated he did not want to have a baby then. I gave him the time to think and brought the topic up a few months later from the initial date. So his reaction was discomfort, and he stated he did not want to have a baby then, meaning maybe in the future. You're 32 years old. You have some fertile years ahead of you. So is that meaning that you can revisit the topic? What were his reasons for discomfort? Sometimes it's financial, and that's valid because a baby can be expensive. I gave him the time to think and brought the topic up a few months later from the initial date, and a few months after each time, as he would say, I didn't want to at the time, or he was thinking about it. He tended to become more and more uncomfortable with the topic each time the conversation about kids was brought up. He often rejects the conversation by saying that I want kids because I am unhappy, stressed, and I want a baby to help me deal with the stress better, which of course I disagree with, because I know having a baby actually brings stress in other ways. Could be. He might be projecting that the fact that he's unhappy and stressed in his own life. So just really quick, answer this question. As an individual, I realize you are married, so you guys are entangled in each other's lives. But as an individual, on a professional level, on a financial level, on a friend's level, on a spiritual level, would you say you're in a good place, an okay place, or a bad place? Then answer the question for your husband. Is he in a good place, a bad place, or an okay place? And if he's in a bad place, then he probably doesn't want to have kids. My perspective is that we are in a good place in our relationship. I didn't read that. So I'm asking you, as individuals, where are you at? Are financially doing better, and I want to be able to enjoy our baby and have the energy to do so. That's what you want, not what he wants. I have tried on multiple occasions to ask him. Notice you wrote tried, meaning that it's not going smoothly or fitting in the grooves of a marriage. Trying is different than doing. Trying means that it's not working. I tried on multiple occasions and asked him about his hesitations, and he says he doesn't want kids because it will be a financial burden. I did not read this story yet, but this is usually the male's biggest problem in the Western world. I don't know where you're at in the world. It's a strong reason. And some people could say, oh, we'll get by and we'll make it happen. Some people's ideas of how they would raise a kid and the financial responsibilities include private school and things like that. And so if that's his reason, you have to respect it. And I don't know how you get around that. So you could ask him, if we made more money, or if I made more money, then you would be willing to have a kid. So in other words, if that's his reason and we're not financially stable right now, what would be the number income-wise that we would need to make you comfortable having a child? And what would be the point that you would feel comfortable raising that kid? And what do you think it costs to raise the kid? What do you have in mind? Private school, things like that? He does not yet have a bigger house. He doesn't have a specific job that he wants, that he will not have his privacy. Ooh. The privacy one says that he might not just be a kid's person, that he likes adults, that he doesn't like being around kids. And kids take a lot of time commitment. Absolutely true. So this is deeper than the financial burden. Ask yourself this. Knowing him for 7 years the way you do you believe he'd be a good father? I have validated his fear. And what was his family life himself? Did he have a good relationship with his parents? Are his parents divorced? This would probably be the seed of the issue. I have validated his fears and shared that I also have the same fears, but I think these will always be there and we'll never feel like we are ready to take these challenges on if we just wait for our heart to tell us. It has to be more of a rational decision. If he ever wants a baby, it's better to start early, says you, not him. You're putting words in his mouth, as we don't even know if we are going to be able to have children or how much time it will take for us to conceive, says you, not him. I think bottom line, he doesn't want to have one. He has valid reasons that are valid reasons himself. If you can't respect that, you guys are going to create a more and more distant relationship. We just have to see if financial strength in our relationship is strong, as we would be able to handle the concerns he has when we have these foundations. Well, the idea that he doesn't like that his privacy and time is going to be consumed by the kid is highly questionable to me. Financials, I understand. The idea that life isn't going to be as private and it's going to take a lot of his time. It has now been 3 years since the first time I seriously discussed this topic, and every time I bring up the topic, he becomes angry and says he is thinking, and we end up arguing. It has become a topic of contention between the two of us, and I have suggested going to a counselor or even seeking family guidance. Yeah, that would be called a referee. Not a bad idea. He does not agree to speak to anyone else about this topic. That means he's dug in, he has his reasons, and he doesn't think he'll change that. So I've decided to separate for a while, as I found myself becoming more and more depressed concerning this contention. Well, it's a big deal for you. And I can understand that, and this might be the best thing for you right now. He needs to feel what it's like to not have you, but I wouldn't want him to make a decision to get you back and then he'll have a kid, because if he doesn't like the idea of the commitment of time and privacy, I just don't know if he'll be a good dad then. He does not agree to speak to anyone else about this topic, so I separated. I read that. I decided to stay in a different room in the house to avoid us clashing, and noted that I will wait for him to decide, as he is noting he is thinking about it. Don't wait too long. It's been 3 years. This disagreement is taking a toll on our relationship, and I fear the worst, that we will separate forever. There's been many people that have come to me that this is the reason why they break up, is someone wants kids and the other person doesn't. And it is a deal breaker, because you don't want someone to do it just for you. He has to want to do it because he wants to be a dad and raise a family. It's not just because you want it. I really wouldn't want that to happen, so I'm willing to do anything from my side to come to a compromise and save the marriage. Well, it would probably be putting on hold having a baby for an indefinite amount of time. I understand that he has goals and dreams for his future, and I want to support him with getting a new house and a job, but I want us to compromise. That's what you want. That's what you want, which is reasonable, but he doesn't seem to be meeting you halfway at all. He just got the job he always wanted in January 2020. Congrats. All that has left of his vision is the house. I am willing to compromise and have told him that we can look for a house while we try to have a baby, but he disagrees. I feel that right now he has a vision for his future and I have a vision for our future. That's a tough way to frame things, because you're saying he's thinking as an individual. Well, is he thinking? Well, I mean, you could be thinking that he's being selfish right now, but does he just not want to have a kid? His vision of the future does not include me, but my vision of the future includes him. I don't see anything about him not including you in the future. It's more or less, I don't want to have a kid for this reason, this reason, this reason. And so, if you wanted to ask him directly, if we don't have a kid, do you see us being together for a long time? I feel that right now we are not agreeing on what we see in the future. It sounds like, no, it's just about having kids, not anything else. However, I know that he loves me and wants to be with me. I have no other complaints about our relationship. He's a faithful and caring. What do you think I should do moving forward? Well, is there a finish line? If you get the house, is that a point where he says, okay, now I want to have a kid? Is he really, what are his real reasons for not wanting to have a kid? Anything beyond that you're not getting? And is he open to having a kid in a year or 2 years when you get the house? So the things that he has created as roadblocks, if those are removed, would he have a kid then? How should I approach talking to him? If he doesn't want to talk to a therapist, if you want to continue this relationship and he's loving and caring in all different ways, then you probably need to continue you need to put the having a kid right now, right here on the shelf, and say, I do want to revisit this in a year or 2 years when we get the house that you wanted. I respect the idea that you want to have a nice house, but I do want kids as a finish line. If he says, I don't want to have kids ever, then you need to make a decision. Is he telling you the truth, and can you deal with that? What is your take on all of this? I appreciate your time and help. I look forward to hearing from you. Well, thank you kindly for writing a good story. Thank you for supporting the channel, and I hope this helps you.